All right, people. There's an article here on Talksport that I'm reading it and I'm like, really? Did you really like? Okay, it's about Oleksandr Usyk. So he posted a clip of himself in training, and he's been training for this upcoming fight with Tyson Fury. I believe he's already started sparring, all kind of stuff like that. Now he's training here with a medicine ball, and for me, it looks like just Oleksandr Usyk. Normal Oleksandr Usyk. Doing training with a medicine ball, looks the same as always, right? Well, Talksport have said, and I quote here in this article, Usyk is now looking far bigger and appears to be bulking up again. Again, when did he bulk up first? You're going to have to jog my mind on that, Talksport, because I don't recall him ever bulking up. He's always been around the same. Like, I'm wondering if the guy who wrote that, because I'm serious, because you often see people. I remember Andre Ward when he fought Sergey Kovalev the first time, post weigh-in. I remember I was on Facebook at the time, and someone posted an article where someone was basically saying that all the people saying Ward is smaller than Sergey Kovalev, he's a half a pound heavier or something like that at the weigh-in, and you're like, they're dehydrated. They dehydrate down to 175. Of course, on fight night, it's going to be very different. I wonder, is he actually looking at that thinking Oleksandr Usyk legit weighed 200 pounds at cruiserweight and has, put the 20 pounds on, just from going to cruiserweight to heavyweight? I'll read the article here. He says, in August of this year, he made a mandatory defense against Daniel Dubois and was once again 221. Now he's set to face 6'9" Tyson Fury, who has reportedly weighed as high as 277 in recent years. Well, he has. So reportedly, he has. As such, it appears he may be bulking up again. Using the word again, he's never bulked up in the past, not that I've seen. As he's been seen looking huge while training on the medicine ball in new footage on Monday. Some fans are concerned this could take away from his marvellous boxing attributes, potentially costing him dearly against Tyson Fury. One said, nothing wrong with bulking up if you start trying to bulk up and go in there slow as molasses, giving up all your advantage. It's going to be a long night or maybe a short one. He says another one said, he will be like a rabbit in the headlights when Fury is looking across the ring at him. He says he hope he doesn't go for the knockout route. Nobody is knocking out Fury. The man is like the real life Undertaker boxing move. So it's a weird article the Talksport have done there, because Oleksandr Usyk, since he's moved to heavyweight, there's been a few times where, and to be fair, some of the images, they do look like he's kind of a little bit bigger, but there's been times where people have been saying, oh, he's bulked up, he's going to be heavier, he's going to be in the 230s. Never happened. Oleksandr Usyk consistently is in the low 220s since he's turned over to heavyweight 4 years ago, I think it was now. And, when you see artists that are like bulking up again, you correct me, when did he bulk up in the past? I've never seen it. Because, they show images of him like going into Joshua fights saying, oh, he's bulked up and he's maybe a pound heavier than he was for his previous fights. That's not much of a bulk, really. You could go toilet and lose a pound. That's not much of a bulk. I think Usyk looks exactly the same. I think Usyk is one of these fighters who knows, right, I'm at a disadvantage with this, but I have an advantage with this, so long as I'm in around this weight. And it's one thing with heavyweights that really kind of, I know they don't need to make weight. I know that. But for any heavyweight, there's always going to be an optimum weight where you'll know by watching, you'll be like, they're the best at that weight. They're their absolute best at that weight. If you take someone like Alexander Povetkin, who throughout his career, he never really fluctuated in weight. He'd always be in the low 220s, maybe 230. I think he weighed 230 once or twice in his career. But you're talking roughly 7 pounds of fluctuation throughout his career, depending on the fight. That's really impressive. Actually, that's actually quite impressive. Especially a heavyweight where, again, you don't have to make weight. Discipline can be a factor. He was at his optimum weight in around that little bracket, right? In around that kind of 7 pound window was his perfect weight to fight at. If he'd have decided to come in 240, right? Bear in mind, he was a pressure fighter who never even had the best of stamina at the best of times. He would have been screwed. We'd be talking about that guy who's lost loads of times, who never even couldn't even fight a war. That would seriously be what you'd be talking about, because he knew this is my best weight. Usyk is a lot like that. You see other fighters who, they don't have the discipline, for one. I know he's not a world level fighter, but you look at someone like a Dave Allen. Dave Allen probably should have at least challenged or maybe had a run as British champion. I think that certainly if you look at him a couple of years ago, like say 6 years ago, he was never going to win world titles, but he could have at least, and domestic level at that time, you had people like Sam Sexton, who were never the greatest anyway, Gary Cornish, people like that. He could have done something at that level, but he had poor discipline. Eddie Hearn tried his best, poor discipline. What he would do is, he would say weigh 250 something for a fight. He'd win it, but he wouldn't look good, and then he'd be like, I'm going to go gym, I'm going to lose all this weight. He'd come in maybe about 230, 235. Aesthetically, he'd look better, but he'd say something like, well, I felt weak in there, I didn't feel right, it's because I lost too much weight. It's not because of that, right? It's not, well, it is partially because of that, but it's not because 250 is your ideal weight. It's because you probably left that fight at 250, gained an extra stone, had to cut down from 270 to 230. You did it rapidly instead of doing it, slowly and gradually. So of course you're going to feel weak. That's what's going to happen. That is inevitable. That's going to happen. But if you stick at that weight, your body acclimatizes to it. It's actually a better weight for you in the long run. But so many heavyweights, they just think of, they don't think, steps down the road. It's just like, I feel weak. It's down because I'm fighting at the wrong weight. No, it's because you can't actually, how would I say it? You don't diet properly. You gain X amount of weight after a fight and you're having to cut rapid amounts of weight down. Of course you're going to feel drained. It's inevitable. With people like Usyk, people like Povetkin in the past, they stay very consistent. And that's important, right? It's important. He knows that's his best weight. And if he, Oleksandr Usyk, I would be baffled. I would, honestly, I'd be amazed if he weighed any higher than, say, 222 for this Tyson Fury fight. In that clip that TalkSport are referring to, he looks exactly the same. He looks exactly the same to me. But bear in mind, Oleksandr Usyk is not a small man. It's small in terms of heavyweight. Yeah, he is. But in terms of him as an actual human individual, you go to Oleksandr Usyk, he dwarfs most people. He's 6'3". How much is that in stone? I think 15 stone is 210, so we'll say he's nearly 16 stone. That's a big man. He's probably wearing XL shirts. So you're not looking at a guy and thinking, he's skinny, you wouldn't be thinking that if you met him. You'd be thinking, God, he's some size. He's a unit. He's just in the land of giants. He's not as big as those guys, but he's still a big man. So when I looked at that, I was like, he looks exactly the same. I don't see he doesn't look bigger. He doesn't look smaller. He looks exactly the same. So when I was reading that article from TalkSport, I was reading it, I was like, what? And then they're saying bulking again. That implies he's done it before. He hasn't. So that's my thoughts on that. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you actually disagree? Do you look at that clip of Usyk with the medicine ball and think, actually, no, he does look bigger, he does look heavier, he is going to come in 230, 235? I doubt that. I doubt it very much. And at the end of the day, Tyson, let's say it wasn't Tyson Fury. Let's just say an analogy, right? You're a guy who's come up from cruiserweight. Your best weight is 220, 225. Okay, at that weight, you're fast, you're mobile, you can do all this stuff. You're fighting a guy who's 245 naturally. He's 6'5", he walks around 245, doesn't have to lift weights. That's his natural weight. Excuse me. He doesn't matter what you do, he's going to be stronger than you. If you think, right, I'm going to get rid of all my advantages, I'm going to pack on 15 pounds of muscle, it's only 5 pounds the weight difference, I'll be able to hold my own. You won't be. Because he is naturally that way. Doesn't matter what you do, he's going to be stronger. So all you're doing is you're just taking away any advantage you have. If you're 225, say you're 20 pounds lighter, right? So he is going to be stronger, but you're way faster. But by coming in 240, you're losing it. When I see it with fighters, especially guys who come up from cruiserweight, I look at it and I'm just like, why? Gassiev is a good example. That guy's coming in way too heavy. He never had the best footwork at cruiserweight. He was never the fastest cruiserweight in the world. But you see him a heavyweight now, that guy is painfully slow. And I think he's too heavy. I think he's way too heavy. Big puncher, but way too heavy. That's my thoughts on that. Let me know yours in the comments below. Smash the like button if you could, people. Hit subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. For now, I will leave you with that. Peace.